Hi guys, welcome back to the Vitality Show. I'm your host Nikki Fogden-Moore, and part of our influencer series I have the very wonderful, esteemed and experienced John Karagounis from CEO Circle. John, welcome.
Thank you, Nikki. It's a pleasure to be here.
It's really remarkable to have some time of yours, because I know in a couple of weeks your new book comes out. We're in the heart of Melbourne in an extremely cool space, and we have these great discussions about how busy everyone is trying to achieve this commercial and personal balance and being pulled in all directions. And one of the things I wanted to talk to you about is your beautiful presence about the discussion about life after awesome. So what happens with our leaders when they're going on to the next thing, or they've made it in their title, and they look up and they go, is this it? And you deal with CEOs. So for those that are listening, I'd love you to just introduce a little bit about who you are and what you do, just to give us some context into the whole.
Sure. So I'm John Karagounis, and a banker for 20 odd years for my sins, but had a wonderful banking career in three major banks and an investment bank, being UBS, and then ran St George Private Bank of Victoria, had a national role, and it was a wonderful opportunity. I loved my banking experience. But then, being a quasi sort of divisional head of a bank, there was an opportunity to be part of an exclusive group of CEOs around a boardroom table, and visited that and loved the whole opportunity of getting like-minded leaders around a boardroom table in completely confidential surrounds, to give them an opportunity just to be themselves and be authentic and share and impart and talk about what's keeping them up at night. And loved that whole entire process, and that led me to the CEO Circle, and ended up buying it about 10 years ago, which was perfect timing, mind you, just before the GFC hit. I wish I'd preempted the GFC, but...
I think a lot of people wish they preempted the GFC, but,
yeah.
But you know, from it's like Phoenix, from the ashes rise great things. So,
absolutely.
And I know that you saw an opportunity in the CEO Circle, and you built it, and you've made it this incredible set of chapters, but you have a real certain character around who attends and who's a partner with that. So tell us a little bit more about who was part of CEO Circle and why it's there in the first place.
So it's interesting, because I love private banking. That was my niche. That's what I loved. And I did retail, commercial, institutional, the whole kit and caboodle during my banking career. But I loved getting up close and personal with my clients, and I always had the customer as a priority, their needs, their wants, and I had this curiosity about them. So about everyone that I came into contact with, I wanted to know their story. I wanted to understand what makes them tick, and what motivates them, what their challenges are. And that was my superhero, superpower, if you like, because I think all leaders have some kind of superpower element to them.
Your leadership superpower.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. And for me, it was all about, I had this inquisitive nature, this curiosity to delve into what makes them tick. And that applied throughout my whole banking career. And I love the fact that I wanted something exclusive, something that was really particular, and I didn't want to mass market it. I just wanted to deal with it, as opposed to the scattergun approach, really deal with it by stealth. Hence the Circle, and it's invitation only. It really is invitation only. I vet and filter who goes into the Circle, and they've got to meet specific criteria. Most importantly, the quality of the individuals going in and why they're actually joining. So I wanted to make it super exclusive.
So when you talk about the quality of individuals, I think we're just having this discussion before on the panel, which is part of our new show, that with digital world now and CVs and this kind of external way people present themselves, that it's that congruence to find out what quality you really are dealing with in a person. Yeah. And it's that blend of their personality and their skills and experience, and also their values.
Absolutely.
So how do you determine that up front when you've got all these leaders coming to you wanting to be part of this exclusive club?
So we do our own due diligence behind the scenes and ask people about specific individuals wanting to join the Circle. But there's nothing like meeting someone and getting that gut feel, Nikki, and actually seeing the whites of their eyes and going through and engaging with them and understanding what really ultimately makes them tick. And I guess being a banker for 20 odd years and writing credit and everything else, you get a really good gut feel. And the times, on the odd occasions when I think that I've made decisions and I didn't follow my gut feel, I've led to regret those decisions, if you like, but quickly jumped on those and changed those. So it's meeting people, understand what makes them tick, what their values are, what they hold as priority and what's important to them. If you get the right calibre of people in that group with the right values, the right mindset, you've got a winning formula, because quality breeds quality. It's not about quantity.
That's right, and one of the discussions on how we connected was the sense of purpose and privilege that it is, that leadership is a lonely road, and often people think that those at the top have it all figured out. But more often than not, they need a much stronger tribe and a safe place to discuss things, and a sense of an area where they can discuss ideas, challenges, vulnerabilities, experiences, but also a more personal challenge of avoiding collateral damage on the way to the top.
Yeah.
So one of our discussions is, how do we best support leaders in life when they look up and they think, is this it? And they've hit a roadblock. And how do you do that as a senior person in business that's been involved for a very long time, where you're blending your credibility with your vulnerability?
That's one of the biggest dilemmas for CEOs and leaders of industry, the fact that they have blinkers on. They focus on what's ahead of them, what's in front of them. They forget about the important things in life. And connecting is one of the most important things that you need to do as a leader. They quickly realise how vulnerable they are when they lose their job or when they're in transition. Whether they leave and all of a sudden they're out in the marketplace and they're like everyone else out there, and the phones stop ringing, they start ringing people, and they don't get calls straight back, you know, they may not get calls at all. And that's when reality hits, where, geez, you know, this is harder than what I thought it was.
Yeah.
So what I tell them is I shake them, and I try to shake some sense into them and say to them, while you're in the role, you need to invest time in for yourself and for the business, and the best way to go about doing that is connecting with others. And just catching up with someone, ringing Nikki up and saying, let's catch up for a cup of coffee and a chat. And I guarantee that person will say, Nikki will turn around and say, so what are we catching up for? What's on the agenda? Nothing, I just want to see how you are.
Yeah.
A genuine, caring nature,
Yeah.
and I wanted to find out.
Relationships without a work agenda is very important, and your mateships are really important, and that's not gender specific. That's like regardless of what marriage you're in or whether you're married to your company, your relationships in the sense of mateness is important, because people need to be on that journey with you.
Absolutely, it's integral, it really is, and the ones that do it really well during their career, throughout their journey, are the ones that have already got jobs lined up before they even leave a job.
And do you think that because in the history, definitely more male-dominated positions, but I think this is, once again, not gender-specific, is that when you've chased that title, we've come, our generation came out of university and we worked hard and we did all the things that our parents wanted us to do, so we achieved, and then what happens when you've already got those titles, or maybe your company's been bought out and the new board of directors and you're no longer significant, you're no longer getting the invitations to everything, you're no longer the go-to person for challenges, or you've retired early because you've made it. So I think it's defining your significance is not on your title, it's on how you give back in life.
Without a doubt, and that's probably one of the most important chapters in my book. There's a Greek word called philotimo. And when you break that word up, that word can't be translated in the English language. And the way that I best describe it is it's giving without remembering and without telling a story, which is extremely important. And it's receiving without forgetting and forever being grateful. So the whole giving piece is an important part of being successful in life. It's an important part because there's no monetary gain from that, but there's no greater fulfillment in life than actually receiving someone's gratitude because you've helped them.
Exactly. And do you think that a lot of people don't realise that until something drastic happens and they're forced to actually be stripped down and start looking at real things that aren't around short-term gains, but suddenly those important relationships are front and centre, and they're actually exposed to their, I wouldn't say shallow ways, but I think going through, there's been certainly a bureaucratic way that a lot of leaders have been built, and we need to be much more conscious in our leadership.
Absolutely. They realise how much they missed out on when a reality check hits, like as you said. When something happens in their life that forces them to put things into perspective, whether it be a tragedy of some sort, and they realise that, geez, I should have given back a lot more than what I took. And that's,
What would be, in your experience, a couple of top tips if there's someone that's listening to this right now or driving in their car and watching us on the YouTube channel and going, gee, that John guy, he's a real star, I wonder how he gets through his life. I mean, you've not been without your challenges, but you're very self-effacing about it and you share that experience. So what would be 2 tips if you think there's someone that's listening to this right now that perhaps feel at that crossroads, or they're in that strife point and they feel their ego is getting in the way of the opportunity to learn?
Think of others, don't just think of yourself. try to help others without any conditions attached or without expectations. That's probably the first and foremost tip, because there's nothing more powerful than doing that. And the second one is invest time in connecting with people with no agenda, with no expectations. Just reach out to friends, family, anyone, because everyone has a story to tell. And it's extremely powerful for you to connect with people and help people when you mesh those two tips together. Because later on in life, you may not get an immediate return, but later on in life is where you'll get the return. It comes back in spades, it really does, you just got to believe in it.
A friend of mine and a thought leader, Mark Wilson, you might have heard of him, he's a major disruptor, says that people should have reverse mentoring, which is when you bring your people through your organisation and you look at your executive teams that you reverse mentor and they give you a new way of thinking and a new perspective, so you're constantly engaged. Do you think that we could reverse mentor even with our children and with everything else? I mean, you've got this beautiful circle around these tables with your chapters. You have this bank of knowledge that's unbelievable. So how do the values get shared through your organisation or through these chapters as well?
Reverse mentoring is something that's extremely powerful. And we all do it in some way, shape or form without calling it anything or labelling it anything, because, you know, being surrounded by 19, 20, 16, 15-year-olds, I've got a 19-year-old, a 16-year-old and an 11-year-old little girl, and they listen and they learn, and you learn so much from them about technology, the digital initiatives that are happening right now in their world, a whole lot of things. So you have to listen attentively to what they say. And, you know, I mentor a few younger generation kids. When I mean kids, they're 18, 19, 25, 26 or thereabouts. I think I get more out of them than what they get out of me. So often it's incredibly powerful to do that. And that applies to all generations all the way through, whether it be the older, where you get the wisdom and the know-how and the experience, and the younger, where they've got different perspectives on life. And you grow and you learn. It's another chapter in my book, The Journey of Discovery, learning through connecting with people.
And I think definitely in leadership, whether you're a startup organisation or a giant capital organisation or VC or a large multinational, the leadership aspect is in listening to your teams and being a conscious leader and a great leader that's open to ideas, but you still have to have sets of vision and you still have to tow people into that wave.
Absolutely.
So you've got to have some self-belief. And what happens when people get asked from a job or they get moved aside, or perhaps they're changing their tenure, they've lost that confidence. And one of the things that we like to give back and what we do with our leadership people is we give them back their confidence. So
Absolutely.
their purpose is important. So when you join a tribe where you can have a shared sense of purpose, if you don't have the right title anymore, it's not defined by that, it's defined by your actions.
The best leaders are the ones that don't have the title, the best influencers. And there's overt and covert power within organisations, and it's usually, and the covert comes with the title. The overt are the ones that just, hide behind the scenes but have enormous influence in organisations. They're extraordinary leaders for me. And in saying, it's really interesting with leadership comes, you've got to lead via collaboration. However, at the end of the day, it's not a popularity contest in terms of what you said before. So you've got to make the hard, courageous decisions, and you've got to stand by those decisions. So we say you can't rule with an iron fist these days. It just doesn't cut it with the generations that are involved in industry and what have you. It's got to be done through collaboration, but you've got to be a leader. A leader has to stand firm for what he or she believes in and make those hard decisions.
There's an interesting analogy that a pilot explained to me flying back from Fiji. He said that with the Hudson River thing, we've got all this automation and all this, robotic and augmented reality, and everything's getting programmed in. But what about the scenarios that you can't pre-program that haven't yet happened? Yeah. So with Sully landing on the Hudson River, that had never been done before. So it wasn't in simulators, it wasn't in pre-programming for robotic flights and computerized systems. Yeah. But he made a decision, and the big thing is he stuck to it. So he made a split-level decision, a split-second one, and he committed to it regardless, based on his experience and his gut. Yeah. So that is something about leadership, is you have to commit as well. If you're going to go, then you've got to follow it all the way through. And we can't always rely on what's input in systems. We have to sometimes use this combination.
Intuition.
Yeah.
You can't buy that, you can't program that in, can you? You're absolutely right. And he stood firm. He knew what the results were going to be. It's either going to go one way or the other. Yeah. But he had the courage to make those hard, courageous decisions, put fear to the side, and use fear as a strength as opposed to a weakness. And he landed that plane and landed it safely.
If you're listening to this, don't discount the experience that you've had that got you to this point. So Life After Awesome is about rediscovering what your product is, what your purpose is, and what your position is in life, regardless of what title you had before.
Yeah.
This is just a new chapter.
Absolutely.
And that's one of the things about the CEO Circle is you create a multi-generation, multifaceted opportunity for people to sit around the table and share their experiences.
Correct. Yes, that's exactly right.
And what would be one tip for you, John, if you were to wrap up a little bit of our conversation on today's show, because I know we're going to talk about your book. If anyone was listening and you said you want to find like-minded people, how do they go about connecting with a tribe of remarkable leaders?
Don't judge. There's the old adage, don't judge a book by its cover. It is so true. Everyone has a story to tell. You don't know where people are going to end up. So while you're climbing up the corporate ladder and while you're engaging with people, give people time of day. Just give them some of your time. Allocate, whether it be 15 minutes, half an hour, whatever it might be. I guarantee you'll have something to learn and you'll get something from that conversation, as long as you don't make that conversation about you.
Yeah, really great.
Make it about them. Ask them questions. Be inquisitive about their journey, their story, their parents. You just don't know who they know, what they know. It's extremely powerful to actually do that.
You're probably like me, you probably know the names of the security people at the airport because we travel so much.
I've actually got books tomorrow that I'm going to Sydney tomorrow, and the security at the Virgin Lounge, as I'm walking through, they know my name personally, I know them personally. They put a smile on my face when I'm catching a 6 a.m. flight in the morning.
Totally can relate to that.
And they're beautiful people, you know, and the staff behind the desk as such. I know their names personally, so you make it personal because they're your family away from your family. At the end of the day.
Exactly.
And at the hotels that you stay with, and I run all the circles out of the Park Hyatt in Sydney and the Grand Hyatt in Melbourne.
And I think that the greatest gift that you can give anyone is significance and your time. So by giving them 2 minutes of intimacy and really looking at them in the eye and finding out about that person, you've made them have that significance in that moment. And that's a great leadership thing, because when you are going through a change, you suddenly don't feel significant anymore.
Nikki, making people smile. There's no greater gift that you can give someone. Yeah. When you walk away and you turn around and you see a smile on their face, or you walk through and they smile when they see you. I think that's a gift you can give people. It doesn't cost you very much.
So you don't need to lead with an iron fist, guys. That's way back in the old days. But what you do need to do is be a conscious leader. You need to think about your values, your proposition, and that you're not defined by your title. We're all leaders in life. And if you're stuck and you're going through a transition, please reach out. John has so many years of experience and a fantastic network. What you've created with CEO Circle is a fantastic place for leaders to come and have great conversations about what really matters. Thank you for being a guest on my show, for sharing a little bit of your knowledge. I look forward to learning more about your book.
Excellent.
And you can hear more about John Karagounis on the show notes from vitalitycoach.com.au. Obviously on the podcast, it's all free. And I'll direct you to the CEO Circle and more to John's bio on how he's a brilliant man leading in life and in commercial. Thank you, John.
Thank you so much.